Chapter 5. Chatu Maharajika Tawa Timsa Yama Tusita Nimanarati Paranimitawa Sawati Chati Kama Sugati Bhumi Satavidha Hoti Sa Panayam Eka Dasa Vidhapi Kama Vachara Bhumicheva Sankhang Gacchati Brahma Parisajja Brahma Purohita Mahabrahma Chati Panchama Jhana Bhumi Paritta Bha Appamana Bha Abhasara Chati Dutiya Jhana Bhumi Paritta Subha Appamana Subha Subha Kinna Chati Tatya Jhana Bhumi Chati Chatutha Jhana Bhumiti Rupa Vachara Bhumi Sollasa Vidha Hoti
Aviha, Atappa, Sudassam, Sudassa, Akoitha, Chati, Suddha Vasabhabhumi, Panchavidha Hoti. Akasananchayatanabhabhumi, Vinyananchayatanabhabhumi, Akinchanyayatanabhabhumi, Nevasanya, Nasanyayatanabhabhumi, Chati, Arupabhabhumi, Chatubvidha Hoti. Saddhavasesu, Sabbakha, Sotapanna, Chasakadagamino, Chapipuggala, Aryano Palabhanti, Asanya Paya Bhumisu, Sesanthanesu Labhanti, Arya na Aryapicha. Idamatha, Bhumi Chatukkam. Chapter 5. Process-freed section. 4 kinds of planes. Section 1. Thus, according to thought processes, the life's course, extending from birth to decays, has been explained. Now the summary of the procedure at rebirth will be told. Planes of existence. Section 2. In the summary of process-freed consciousness, 4 sets of 4 should be understood as follows.
4 planes of life, 4 modes of rebirth, 4 kinds of actions, and 4-fold advent of death. Of these, the 4 planes of life are 1. Unhappy plane, 2. Sensuous blissful plane, 3. Rupa-vachara plane, and 4. Arupa-vachara plane. Among these, the unhappy plane is 4-fold, namely woeful state, animal kingdom, the Peta sphere, and the host of asuras. The sensuous blissful plane is 7-fold, namely human realm, the realm of the 4 kings, the realm of the 33 gods, the realm of the Yama gods, the delightful realm, the realm of the gods who rejoice in their own creations, and the realm of the gods who lord over the creation of others. These 11 kinds of spheres constitute the Kemavachara plane. Rupavachara plane is 16-fold, namely the first jhana plane, to wit 1. The realm of Brahma's retinue, 2. The realm of Brahma's ministers, and 3. The Mahabrahma realm. 2. The second jhana plane, to wit 4. The realm of minor luster, 5. The realm of infinite luster, and 6. The realm of radiant luster. 3. The third jhana plane, to wit 7. The realm of minor aura, 8. The realm of infinite aura, and 9. The realm of steady aura. 4. The fourth jhana plane, to wit 10. The realm of great reward, 11. The realm of mindless beings, and 12. The pure abodes. The pure abodes are 5-fold, namely 1. The durable realm, 2. The serene realm, 3. The beautiful realm, 4. The clear-sighted realm, and 5. The highest realm. The arupa plane is 4-fold, namely 1. The realm of infinite space, 2. The realm of infinite consciousness, 3. the realm of nothingness. 4. The realm of neither perception nor non-perception. Section 3. In the pure abodes, no worldlings, stream-winners, or once-returners are born in any way. The Aryas are not born in mindless realms and woeful states. In other planes are born both Aryas and non-Aryas. Aryas are those who have attained the 4 stages of sainthood. All worldlings otherwise are called non-Aryas. Herein, these are the fourfold planes. Notes 1. Bhumi, derived from the root bu, to be. Lit means a place where beings exist. According to Buddhism, the earth, an almost insignificant speck in the universe, is not the only habitable world, and humans are not the only living beings. Infinite are world systems, and so are living beings. Nor is the impregnated ovum the only route to rebirth. By traversing, one cannot reach the end of the world, says the Buddha. Upon the exhaustion of the evil kama, there is a possibility for beings born in such states to be reborn in good states as the result of their past good actions. 7. Tirachana means tiro, across, achana, going. Animals are so called because, as a rule, quadrupeds walk horizontally. Buddhist belief is that beings are born as animals on account of evil kama. An animal may be born in a blissful state as a result of the good karma accumulated in the past. There are at times certain animals, particularly dogs and cats, who live a more comfortable life than even human beings. It is also due to their past good karma. It is one's karma that determines the nature of one's material form, which varies according to the skill or unskillfulness of one's actions. And this again depends entirely on the evolution of one's understanding of reality. 8. Peta plus ita, literally, departed beings, or those absolutely devoid of happiness. They are not disembodied spirits or ghosts. Although they possess material forms, generally they are invisible to the physical eye. They have no plane of their own, but live in forests, dirty surroundings, etc. 9. Asura, literally, those who do not sport, or those who do not shine. These asuras should be distinguished from another class of asuras who are opposed to devas, and who live in the Tavatiyinsa plane. 10. Manusa, literally, those who have an uplifted or developed mind. Mano usanao etesum. Its Sanskrit equivalent is Manushya, which means the sons of Manu. They are so called because they became civilized after Manu the seer. The human realm is a mixture of both pain and happiness. Bodhisattvas prefer the human realm as they get a better opportunity to serve the world and perfect the requisites for Buddhahood. Buddhas are always born as human beings. 11. Chatuma Harayika. This is the lowest of the heavenly realms where the 4 guardian deities reside with their followers. 12. Tavatimsa, literally 33. Sakka, the king of the gods, resides in this celestial plane. The origin of the name is attributed to a story which states that 33 selfless volunteers, led by Magha, having performed charitable deeds, were born in this heavenly realm. 13. Yama, derived from root yam, to destroy. That which destroys pain is yama. 14. Tusita, literally, happy dwellers. Traditional belief is that the future bodhisattva dwells at present in this celestial plane, awaiting the right opportunity to be born as a human being and become a Buddha. 15. Nimmarati, those who delight in the created mansions. 16. Parani nimitta vasavati, literally, those who bring under their sway things created by others. These are the 6 celestial planes, all temporary blissful abodes, where beings are supposed to live happily enjoying fleeting pleasures of sense. Superior to these sensuous planes are the Brahma realms, where beings delight in jhanic bliss, achieved by renouncing sense desires. These are the 3 Brahma realms where beings who have developed the first jhana are born. The lowest of these 3 is Brahma Parisajja, which literally means those who are born amongst the attendants of Mahabrahmas. The second is Brahma Purohita, which means Brahma's ministers. The highest of the first 3 is Mahabrahma. It is so called because they exceed others in happiness, beauty, and age limit, owing to the intrinsic merit of their mental development. Those who develop the first jhana to a normal extent are born in the first plane. Those who have developed to a medium degree are born in the second plane. And those who have perfect control of the first jhana are born amongst Mahabrahmas in the third plane. The 3 divisions of the other jhanic planes should be similarly understood. 18. Asanya Satta. This is supposed to be a plane where beings are born without a consciousness. A material flux exists. Normally, both mind and matter are inseparable. By the power of meditation, it is possible, at times, to separate matter from mind, as in this particular case. When an arahant attains the Nirodha Samapatti, his consciousness ceases to exist temporarily. Such a state is almost inconceivable to us, but there may be many inconceivable things which are actual facts. 19. Sudalwasa. Only anagamis and arahants are found in these planes. Those who attain anagami in other planes are born in these pure abodes. Later, they attain arahantship and live in those planes till their life term is over. 20. See page 26. All these 4 are immaterial planes. It should be remarked that the Buddha did not attempt to expound any cosmological theory. The essence of the Buddha's teaching is not affected by the existence or non-existence of these planes. No one is bound to believe anything if it does not appeal to his reason. Nor is it right to reject anything just because it cannot be conceived by one's limited knowledge. 2. Panisandhi Chatukam. 4. Apaya Panisandhi, Kama Sugati Panisandhi, Rupa Avachara Panisandhi, and Arupa Panisandhi, iti Chatubida Hoti Panisandhi Nama Tata Akusala Vipako Pekaha Sahagatang Santiranang.
अपाय भूमि यं उक्कंतिक्ख खणे पणिसंधि घुत्वा वोच्छिज्यति अयमेकाव आपाय पणिसंधिः नाम कुशल विपाकोपेक्षा सहगत संतीरणं पन काम सुगतियों मनुष्याणं जाच्छन्धादि हीन सत्ताणं चेव भुम्म निस्सिताणं च विनिपातिकासुराणं च पणिसंधिः भवं गच्छुत्तेन वासा पवर्तकी महाविपाकाणि पन अट्ठसभ्थापि काम सुगतियों पणिसंधि भवं गच्छुतेन वासा पवर्तन्ति इमा नव काम सुगति पणिसंधियो नाम सापनायन दश विधापि कामावचर पणिसंधिच्चेव संख्यौंक्षति तेषु चतुन्नम अपायानम मनुष्याणंच विनिपातिकासुराणंच आयुप्पमाणगणाया नियमो मत्थि चातुम्महाराजिकाणं पन देवानं दिव्यानि पंचवत्सशतानि आयुप्पमाणं मनुष्यगणनाया 90 वत्ससहस्रप्पमाणं होति ततो चतुर्गुणं तावतिंसाणं ततो चतुर्गुणं यामानं ततो चतुर्गुणं तुसिताणं ततो चतुर्गुणं निम्माणरतीनां ततो चतुग्गुणं परनिम्मितवसवत्तीर्णां देवानाम् आयुप्पमाणम् नवशतञ्च एकवीसवस्साणं कोटियो तथा वस्सहस्रशतानि षट्टिचा वसवत्तिषु पञ्चमज्झानविपाकं पञ्चमज्झानभूमियं पणिसन्धिभवं गच्छुतेन वासा पवर्तते तथा द्वितीयज्झानविपाकं तृतीयज्झानविपाकञ्च द्वितीयज्झानभूमियम्
I, fourfold rebirth. Section 4. Rebirth is fourfold, namely 1. Rebirth in a woeful state. 2. Rebirth in a blissful sense sphere. 3. Rebirth in a rapavachara plane. And 4. Rebirth in an arapavachara plane. Therein, the immoral resultant investigating consciousness, accompanied by indifference, 21, becomes the relinking consciousness at the moment of descent into a woeful state. Then it lapses into bhavanga, and finally it becomes the deceased consciousness and is cut off. This is the one single woeful rebirth. The moral resultant investigating consciousness, accompanied by indifference, persists as the relinking, life continuum, and deceased consciousness of degraded human beings of the blissful sense sphere, such as those born blind and so forth, 22, and also of earthbound fallen asuras, 23. The 8 great resultants act as the relinking, life continuum, and deceased consciousness everywhere in the blissful sense sphere. These 9 comprise rebirth in the blissful sense sphere. These 10 modes are reckoned as rebirth in the kamavachara plane. There is no definite limit to the duration of life of beings born in woeful states, amongst humans and fallen asuras. The age limit of gods of the realm of 4 kings is 500 celestial years. That is, according to human reckoning, 9 million years. The age limit of the 33 gods is 4 times this amount. The age limit of delightful gods is 4 times that of the 33. 4 times that amount is the age limit of those who lord over the creation of others. In the plane of those who lord over others, the age limit, according to human reckoning, is 920,060,000 years. Section 5. 1. The first jhana resultant occurs in the first jhana plane as relinking, life continuum, and deceased consciousness. Similarly, the second jhana resultant and the third jhana resultant in the second jhana plane, the fourth jhana resultant in the third jhana plane, the fifth jhana resultant in the fourth jhana plane. But for mindless beings, material form itself occurs as rebirth. Similarly, thereafter, during lifetime and at the moment of decease, only material form exists and perishes. These are the 6 modes of rebirth on the Rupavachara plane. Among these, the age limit of the gods of Brahma's retinue is 1/3 of an eon. Of Brahma's ministers is half an eon. Of Maha-Brahma is 1 eon. Of minor luster, 2 eons. Of infinite luster, 4 eons. Of radiant gods, 8 eons. Of minor aura, 16 eons. Of infinite aura, 32 eons. Of steady aura, 64 eons. Of great reward and mindless beings, 500 eons. Of durable gods, 1,000 eons. Of serene gods, 2,000 eons. Of beautiful gods, 4,000 eons. Of clear-sighted gods, 8,000 eons. Of the highest gods, 16,000 eons. The first arupa jhana resultant and others occur respectively on the first and other arupa planes as relinking, life continuum, and deceased consciousness. These are the 4 modes of rebirth on the arupa plane. Among them, the age limit of gods who have attained to the realm of infinity of space is 20,000 eons, of those who have attained to the realm of infinity of consciousness is 40,000 eons. Of those who have attained to the realm of nothingness is 60,000 eons. Of those who have attained to the realm of neither perception nor non-perception is 84,000 eons.
Section 6. The relinking consciousness, life continuum consciousness, and the decease consciousness in one particular birth are similar and have an identical object. Herein, this is the fourfold rebirth. Notes. 23, i.e., fallen from happiness. 24. These are the 8 Sobbana Vipaka Chittas. See Chapter 1, page 56. 25. Beings suffer in woeful states in accordance with their kamma. Their age limit differs according to the gravity of the evil deed. Some are short-lived, and some are long-lived. Malika, the queen of King Kosala, for instance, had to suffer in a woeful state only for 7 days. Devadatta, on the other hand, is destined to suffer for an eon. At times, earthbound deities live only for 7 days. 26. Books state that 50 human years equal 1 celestial day. 30 such days amount to 1 month, and 12 such months constitute 1 year. 27. Kappa, that which is thought of in accordance with the analogy of mustard seeds and the rock. Kapayati. Sasapa pabato pamahi ti. Kapo. There are 3 kinds of kappas, namely Antarakappa, Asankheya kappa, and Mahakappa. The interim period when the age limit of human beings rises from 10 to an indefinite time and then falls to 10 again is known as an Antarakappa. 20 such Antarakappas equal 1 Asanteya kappa, literally an incalculable cycle. 4 Asankheya kappas equal 1 Mahakappa. This exceeds the time required to exhaust an area, a yojana, in length, breadth, and height, filled with mustard seeds, by throwing away a seed once in 100 years. 3. Kammakatuka. Pali section omitted due to technical difficulties. English explanation will proceed. IV. Fourfold Kamma. 29. Section 7. First. With respect to function, there are 4 kinds of kamma, namely A. Reproductive kamma, B. Supportive kamma, C. Obstructive kamma, and D. Destructive kamma. 2. With respect to the order in which the effective kamma takes place, there are 4 kinds of kamma: A. Weighty kamma, B. Proximate kamma, C. Habitual kamma, and D. Reserve kamma. 3. With respect to the time of taking effect, there are 4 kinds of kamma: A. Immediately effective kamma, B. Subsequently effective kamma, C. Indefinitely effective kamma, and D. Defunct kamma. 4. With respect to the place in which effect takes place, there are 4 kinds of kamma, namely A. Immoral kamma, B. Moral kamma pertaining to the sense sphere, C. Moral kamma pertaining to the rapa plane, and D. Moral kamma pertaining to the arapa plane. Of them, immoral kamma is 3-fold according to the doors of action, namely bodily action, verbal action, and mental action. How? Killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct are bodily actions done generally through the door of the body, known as bodily intimation. Lying, slandering, harsh speech, and vain talk are verbal actions done generally through the door of speech, known as verbal intimation. Covetousness, ill will, and false belief are mental actions done generally through the mind itself, without bodily or verbal intimation.
Of them, killing, harsh speech, and ill will spring from the root of hatred. Sexual misconduct, covetousness, and false belief from the root of attachment. The remaining 4 arise from the 2 roots. According to the classes of consciousness, immoral karma is 12-fold. Moral karma of the karma plane is 3-fold according to the doors of action, namely, deeds pertaining to the door of the body, verbal actions pertaining to the door of speech, and mental actions pertaining to the door of the mind. Similarly, it is 8-fold according to the classes of consciousness, such as generosity, morality, and meditation. It is also 10-fold according to generosity, morality, meditation, reverence, service, transference of merit, rejoicing in others' merit, hearing the doctrine, teaching the doctrine, and straightening one's views. Similarly, moral karma of the arupa plane is mental action and is also caused by meditation. According to the objects of jhana that involve ecstasy, it is 4-fold. Herein, immoral karma, excluding restlessness, causes rebirth in a woeful state, but during lifetime all the 12 take effect. The 7 unwholesome resultants are experienced anywhere in the kama plane and the rupa plane according to circumstances. Moral karma of the kama plane produces rebirth in the blissful kama plane. Similarly, the 8 great resultants are experienced during lifetime. The 8 wholesome rootless resultants are experienced anywhere in the kama plane and the rupa plane according to circumstances. Therein, the highest moral karma accompanied by 3 roots produces rebirth similarly accompanied by 3 roots. During lifetime, it gives effect to 16 kinds of resultants. Moral karma, accompanied by 3 roots of a lower class and by 2 roots of a higher class, produces rebirth without roots and gives effect to rootless resultants during lifetime. But moral karma, accompanied by 2 roots of a lower class, produces rebirth without roots and gives effect to rootless resultants during lifetime. Developing the 5th jhana, they are born amongst the gods of the great reward. Developing it with no attachment to consciousness, they are born amongst beings without consciousness. The never-returners are born in the pure abodes. Developing moral karma pertaining to the formless sphere, they are born in formless spheres in corresponding order. Section 10. Thus, sublimated merit, determined according to spheres, produces similar results both at rebirth and in one's lifetime. Herein, this is the 4-fold karma. Notes. 29. Karma, Sanskrit karma, literally means action or doing. Strictly speaking, karma means all moral and immoral volition, cetana. It covers all that is included in the phrase thought, word, and deed. It is the law of moral causation. In other words, it is action and reaction in the ethical realm, or action-influence, as Westerners say. It is not fate or predestination. It is one's own doing reacting on oneself. Every volitional action, except that of a Buddha or of an Arahant, is called karma. The Buddhas and Arahants do not accumulate fresh karma, as they have eradicated ignorance and craving, the roots of karma. Karma is action, and vipaka, fruit or result, is its reaction. It is the cause and the effect. Like a seed is karma. Vipaka, or effect, is like the fruit arising from the tree. As we sow, we reap somewhere and sometime in this life or in a future birth. What we reap today is what we have sown either in the present or in the past. Karma is a law in itself, and it operates in its own field without the intervention of an external, independent ruling agency. Inherent in kama is the potentiality of producing its due effect. The cause produces the effect. The effect explains the cause. The seed produces the effect. The fruit explains the seed. Such is their relationship. Even so are kama and its effect. The effect already blooms in the cause. According to Abhidhamma, kama constitutes the 12 types of immoral consciousness, 8 types of moral consciousness pertaining to the sense sphere, kamavachara, 5 types of moral consciousness pertaining to the realms of forms, rupavachara, and 4 types of moral consciousness pertaining to the formless realms, arupavachara. These 8 types of supramundane consciousness, lokutara citta, are not regarded as kama and vipaka, because they tend to eradicate the roots of kama that condition rebirth. In the supramundane consciousness, wisdom, panya, is predominant, while in the ordinary types of consciousness, volition, cetana, is predominant. These 29 types of consciousness are called kama because the reproductive power is inherent in them. Just as every object is accompanied by a shadow, even so every volitional activity is accompanied by its due effect. These types of consciousness that are experienced as inevitable consequence of good and bad thoughts are called resultant consciousness, vipaka. The 23 types, 7 plus 8 plus 8, of resultant consciousness pertaining to the sense sphere, the 5 types of resultant consciousness pertaining to the realms of form, and the 4 types of resultant consciousness pertaining to the formless realms are called vipaka, or fruition of kama. See The Life of the Buddha and His Teachings, pages 129 to 133, and Manual of Buddhism, pages 79 to 88. 30. Every birth is conditioned by a past good or bad kama which predominates at the moment of death. The kama that conditions the future birth is called reproductive or janaka kama. The death of a person is merely the temporary end of a temporary phenomenon. Though the present form perishes, another form, which is neither the same nor absolutely different, takes place according to the potential thought vibrations generated at the death moment, as the kamic force that propels the life flux still survives. It is this last thought, which is technically called reproductive kama, that determines the state of a person in his subsequent birth. This may be either a good or bad kama. According to the commentary, janaka kama is that which produces mental aggregates and material aggregates at the moment of conception. The initial consciousness, which is termed the panisandhi vijnanan, or rebirth consciousness, is conditioned by this janaka kama. Simultaneous with the arising of the rebirth consciousness, there arise the body decad, sex decad, and base decad, or kaya bhava vatudasaka. The body decad consists of the first 9 elements, namely the element of extension, the element of cohesion, the element of heat, the element of motion, its 4 derivatives, namely color, odor, taste, nutritive essence, vitality, and body. Sex decad and base decad also consist of the first 9 and sex, or bhava, and seat of consciousness, or vatu, respectively. From this it is evident that the sex is determined at the very conception of a being. It is conditioned by kama and is not a fortuitous combination of sperm and ovum cells. Pain and happiness one experiences in the course of one's lifetime are the inevitable consequences of janaka kama. 31. Upatambaka, that which comes near the reproductive kama and supports it. is either good or bad and assists or maintains the action of the reproductive karma in the course of one's lifetime.
Immediately after the conception till the death moment, this karma steps forward to support the reproductive karma. A moral supportive karma assists in giving health, wealth, happiness, etc. to the person concerned. An immoral supportive karma, on the other hand, assists in giving pain, sorrow, etc. to the person born with an immoral reproductive karma, as, for instance, to a beast of burden. 2. Upapanawaka, or obstructive or counteractive karma, which, unlike the former, tends to weaken, interrupt, and retard the fruition of the reproductive karma. For instance, a person born with a good reproductive karma may be subject to various ailments, etc., thus preventing him from enjoying the blissful results of his good action. An animal, on the other hand, who is born with a bad reproductive karma may lead a comfortable life by getting good food, lodging, etc., as a result of his good counteractive karma, preventing the fruition of the evil reproductive karma. 3. Upagataka. According to the law of karma, the potential energy of the reproductive karma could be nullified by a more powerful opposing karma of the past, which, seeking an opportunity, may quite unexpectedly operate, just as a counteractive powerful force can obstruct the path of a flying arrow and bring it down to the ground. This action is called destructive karma, which is more effective than the previous two in that it not only obstructs but also destroys the whole force. This destructive karma may also be either good or bad. As an instance of the operation of all four, the case of Devadatta, who attempted to kill the Buddha and who caused a schism in the Sangha, may be cited. His good reproductive karma conditioned him a birth in a royal family. His continued comforts and prosperity were due to the action of the supportive karma. The counteractive karma came into operation when he was subject to much humiliation as a result of his being excommunicated from the Sangha. Finally, the destructive karma brought his life to a miserable end. 34. Garuka, which means either weighty or serious, may be either good or bad. It produces its results in this life or in the next for certain. If good, it is purely mental, as in the case of the jhanas. Otherwise, it is verbal or bodily. The 5 kinds of weighty karma, according to their gravity, are I. The creation of a schism in the Sangha. 2. The wounding of a Buddha. 3. The murder of an arahant. 4. Matricide. And 5. Parricide. These are also known as anantariya karma because they definitely produce their effects in the subsequent life. Permanent skepticism, or nyakta miccha dittini, is termed one of the weighty karmas. If, for instance, any person were to develop the jhanas and later were to commit one of these heinous crimes, his good karma would be obliterated by the powerful evil karma. His subsequent birth will be conditioned by the evil karma, in spite of him having gained the jhanas earlier. Devadatta lost his psychic powers and was born in an evil state because he wounded the Buddha and caused a schism in the Sangha. King Ajatasattu would have attained the first stage of sainthood if he had not committed parricide. In this case, the powerful evil karma acted as an obstacle to his gaining sainthood. 35. Asana, or death-proximate karma, is that which one does or remembers immediately before the dying moment. Owing to its significance in determining the future birth, the custom of reminding the dying person of his good deeds and making him do good acts on his deathbed still prevails in Buddhist countries. Sometimes a bad person may die happily and receive a good birth if fortunately he remembers or does a good act at the last moment. A story runs that a certain executioner, who casually happened to give some alms to the Venerable Sariputta, remembered this good act at the dying moment and was born in a state of bliss.
This does not mean that although he enjoys a good birth, he will be exempt from the effects of the evil deeds accumulated during his lifetime. They will have their due effects as occasions arise. At times, a good person may die unhappily by suddenly remembering an evil act of his, or by harboring some unpleasant thought, perchance compelled by unfavorable circumstances. Queen Malika, the consort of King Kosala, led a righteous life, but as a result of remembering at her death moment a lie which she had uttered, she had to suffer for about 7 days in a state of misery. These are only exceptional cases. Such reverse changes of birth account for the birth of virtuous children to vicious parents, and of vicious children to virtuous parents. As a rule, the last thought process is conditioned by the general conduct of a person. 36. Achina kama is that which one habitually performs and recollects, and for which one has a great liking. Habits, whether good or bad, become second nature. They tend to form the character of a person. In leisure moments, we often engage ourselves in our habitual thoughts and deeds. In the same way, at the death moment, unless influenced by other circumstances, we as a rule recall to mind such thoughts and deeds. Chunda, a butcher, who was living in the vicinity of the Buddha's monastery, died squealing like a pig because he was earning his living by slaughtering pigs. King Dotagamani of Ceylon was in the habit of giving alms to the bhikkhus before he took his meals. It was this habitual kama that gladdened him at the dying moment and gave him birth in Tusita realm. 37. Katata kama, or reserve or cumulative kama. Literally, it means because done. All actions that are done once and soon forgotten belong to this category. This is, as it were, the reserve fund of a particular being. Dhamma vedaniya kamma is that which is experienced in this particular life. Dhamma means this present life. According to Abhidhamma, one does both good and evil during the jhāvana process, which usually lasts for 7 thought moments. The effect of the first thought moment, being the weakest, one may reap in this life itself. This is called the immediately effective kamma. If it does not operate in this life, it is called defunct or ineffective. The next weakest is the 7th thought moment. Its evil effect one may reap in the subsequent birth. This is called upapajja vedanaya kamma. This too becomes ineffective if it does not operate in the second birth. The effects of the intermediate thought moments may take place at any time until one attains Nibbāna. This type of kamma is known as aparaparaya vedanaya, indefinitely effective. No one, not even the Buddhas and Arahants, is exempt from this class of kamma that one may experience in the course of one's wanderings in samsara. There is no special class of kamma known as ahosi, but when such actions that should produce their effects in the present life or in a subsequent life do not operate, they are termed ineffective. Bahula vuttito. This term is used because these actions may be done through other doors as well. Kaya viññāti, expressing the intention through bodily movements. Vaca viññāti, expressing the intention through speech. By false beliefs are meant the following 3 misconceptions. 1. Everything has sprung up without a cause. 2. Good and bad produce no effect. And 3. There is no afterlife. 144. I.e., by viewing rightly, such as, it is beneficial to give alms, etc. 145. The evil effects of the 12 types of immoral consciousness are the 7 types of rootless resultant consciousness. They may take effect in the course of one's lifetime. 144. The effects of the 8 types of moral actions are the 8 types of rootless resultant consciousness and the 8 types of beautiful resultant consciousness. The effect of the 8 types of moral consciousness may not only serve as rebirth consciousness, but also give rise to different types of resultant consciousness in the course of one's lifetime. 146. Ukanta, literally up, drawn, root kas. A highest class of moral kamma is that which is attendant with good causes before and after the commission of the act. For instance, an alms given to the most virtuous with righteously obtained wealth with no later repentance is considered a highest moral kamma. Dittha dhamma vedaniya kamma is that which is experienced in this particular life. Dittha dhamma means this present life. According to Abhidhamma, one does both good and evil during the jhavana process, which usually lasts for 7 thought moments. The effect of the first thought moment, being the weakest, one may reap in this life itself. This is called the immediately effective kamma. If it does not operate in this life, it is called defunct or ineffective. The next weakest is the 7th thought moment. Its evil effect one may reap in the subsequent birth. This is called upapajja vedanaya kamma. This too becomes ineffective if it does not operate in the second birth. The effects of the intermediate thought moments may take place at any time until one attains Nibbàna. This type of kamma is known as aparaparaya vedanaya, indefinitely effective. No one, not even the Buddhas and Arahants, is exempt from this class of kamma that one may experience in the course of one's wanderings in samsara. There is no special class of kamma known as ahosi, but when such actions that should produce their effects in the present life or in a subsequent life do not operate, they are termed ineffective. Bahula vuttito. This term is used because these actions may be done through other doors as well. Kaya viññāti, expressing the intention through bodily movements. Vaca viññāti, expressing the intention through speech. By false beliefs are meant the following 3 misconceptions. 1. Everything has sprung up without a cause. 2. Good and bad produce no effect. And 3. There is no afterlife. 144. I.e., by viewing rightly, such as, it is beneficial to give alms, etc. 145. The evil effects of the 12 types of immoral consciousness are the 7 types of rootless resultant consciousness. They may take effect in the course of one's lifetime. 144. The effects of the 8 types of moral actions are the 8 types of rootless resultant consciousness and the 8 types of beautiful resultant consciousness. The effect of the 8 types of moral consciousness may not only serve as rebirth consciousness, but also give rise to different types of resultant consciousness in the course of one's lifetime. 146. Ukanta, literally up, drawn, root kas. A highest class of moral kamma is that which is attendant with good causes before and after the commission of the act. For instance, an alms given to the most virtuous with righteously obtained wealth with no later repentance is considered a highest moral kamma. 47. Omaka, inferior. While giving alms, one may experience a moral consciousness with the 3 good roots, but if he were to give to the vicious with unrighteously obtained wealth and with later repentance, it is regarded as an inferior kamma. 48. They are the teachers of the school of Mahā Thera of Moravapi Monastery in Ceylon. 49. 12. 8 ahetuka vipakas, and either 4 prompted resultants or 4 unprompted resultants unaccompanied by wisdom. 10. 8 ahetuka vipakas, and 2 prompted or 2 unprompted resultants unaccompanied by wisdom. 8. 8 ahetukas. 50. The Sotapannas and Sakadagamis, who develop the 5th jhana, are born in the Vehapala plane. But those Sotapannas and Sakadagamis, who have developed a dispassion for material existence, are born in formless realms. The Anagamis, who have developed the 5th jhana and who possess the 5 faculties, such as confidence, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom to an equal degree, are born in the Vehapala plane.
Those who surpass in confidence, saddha, are born in the aviha plane. Those who surpass in energy, virya, in atapa plane. Those who surpass in mindfulness, sati, in suddhasa plane. Those who surpass in concentration, samadhi, in suddhasi plane. And those who surpass in wisdom, panya, in akanyista plane. There is no fixed rule that anagamis are not born in other suitable planes. Te pana anyata na nibbatanti iti nyamo nati. Kamari. Dry-visioned anagamis who have followed the contemplation course develop jhanas before death and are consequently born in the pure abodes. 5. Procedure with regard to death and rebirth. 11. The advent of death is fourfold, namely I, through the expiration of the age limit, I, through the expiration of the reproductive kamma force, I, through the simultaneous expiration of both, and IV, through the intervention of a destructive kamma. Now, to those who are about to die at the moment of death, by the power of kamma, one of the following presents itself through any of the 6 doors. I, a kamma that produces rebirth in the subsequent birth, enters the mind door according to circumstances. I, an object such as a pre-perceived form and the like, or anything that was instrumental in the performance of the kamma. I, a symbolic destiny sign that should be got and experienced in the subsequent birthplace. Thereafter, attending to that object thus presented, the stream of consciousness, in accordance with the kamma that is to be matured whether pure or corrupted, and in conformity with the place where one is to be born, continually flows, inclining mostly towards that state. Or that birth reproductive kamma presents itself to a sense door in the way of renewing. 12. To one who is nearing death, either at the end of a thought process or at the dissolution of bhavanga, the deceased consciousness, the consummation of the present life, arises and ceases in the way of death. At the end of the cessation, immediately after which, based on the object thus obtained, whether with heart base or not, rebirth consciousness arises and is established in the subsequent existence, enveloped accordingly by latent ignorance, rooted in latent craving, produced by action, kamma, conjoined with mental coadjutants, acting as the forerunner to the coexisting states and linking the existences. Section 13. Herein, in the dying thought process, only 5 feeble moments of bhavana should be expected. Therefore, when death occurs while the present object is being presented to the avenues, i.e., kama nimitta, to one of the 5 sense doors, or gati nimitta, to the mind door, then the rebirth consciousness and the bhavayanga consciousness take a present object. Thus, in rebirth in a sense sphere, the kama nimitta, taken by any of the 6 doors, or gati nimitta, may be past or present. But kama is perceived only by the mind door as a past object. All these should be regarded as lesser objects, i.e., belonging to the kama sphere. In rebirth in the realms of forms, the kama symbol, which is a concept, such as earth, device, etc., becomes the object. So too, in rebirth in formless realms, only a kama symbol, which is a sublimated concept, such as a visualized space, becomes an object according to circumstances. To the mindless beings, only the vital nonad establishes itself in the way of rebirth. Hence, they are called materially reborn. Those born in formless realms are called mentally reborn. The rest are called materially and mentally reborn. 125. Normally, 7 thought moments. 126. Namely, the 4 elements of extension, cohesion, heat, motion, patavi, apo, tejo, vayo. The 4 derivatives, color, odor, taste, and nutritive essence, vana,
gandha, rasa, oja, and physical life principle, jivita indriya. Section 14. After one passes away from a formless realm, one is similarly born in a formless realm, but not in a lower formless plane, and also in the sense sphere with 3 roots. When one passes from a realm of form, one is not born without the 3 roots. After a birth with the 3 roots, one seeks rebirth in all states. The rest, namely those with 2 roots and no roots, are reborn in the sense spheres. Herein, this is the procedure with regard to decease and rebirth. Notes. 51. Death is the temporary end of a temporary phenomenon. By death is meant the extinction of psychic life, jivitandriya, heat, ushma equals tejo dhatu, and consciousness, vijnana, of one individual in a particular existence. Death is not the complete annihilation of a being. Death in one place means the birth in another place, just as, in conventional terms, the rising of the sun in one place means the setting of the sun in another place. 52. What are commonly understood to be natural deaths due to old age may be classed under this category. To each of the various planes of existence is naturally assigned a definite age limit, irrespective of the potential energy of the reproductive karma that has yet to run. One must, however, succumb to death when the maximum age limit is reached. It may also be said that if the reproductive karma is extremely powerful, the karmic energy rematerializes itself on the same plane or on some higher plane, as in the case of the devas. 57. Kamma nimitta is any sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or idea which was obtained at the time of the commission of the kamma, such as knives in the case of a butcher, patience in the case of a physician, flowers in the case of a devotee, etc. 58. By gati nimitta is meant some sign of the place where he is to take birth, an event which invariably happens to dying persons. When these indications of the future birth occur, and they are bad, they can be turned into good. This is done by influencing the thoughts of the dying person, so that his good thoughts may now act as the proximate kamma and counteract the influence of the reproductive kamma, which would otherwise affect his subsequent birth. These symbols of one's destiny may be hellish fires, forests, mountainous regions, mother's womb, celestial mansions, etc. The kamma is presented to the mind door. Kamma nimitta may be presented to any of the 6 doors according to circumstances. Gati nimitta, being always a physical sight, is presented to the mind door as a dream. 59. Taking one of the aforesaid objects, a thought process runs its course even if the death be an instantaneous one. It is said that even the fly which is crushed by a hammer on the anvil also experiences such a process of thought before it actually dies. Let us imagine, for the sake of convenience, that the dying person is to be reborn in the human plane, and that his object is some good kamma. His bhavanga consciousness, interrupted, vibrates for one thought moment and passes away. Thereafter, the mind-door apprehending consciousness, manodvaravajana, arises and passes away. Then comes the psychologically important stage, jivana process, which here runs only for 5 thought moments by reason of its weakness instead of the normal 7. As such, it lacks all reproductive power, its main function being the mere regulation of the new existence, abhinavakarana. The object in the present case being desirable, the consciousness he experiences is a moral one, automatic or prompted, accompanied by pleasure and associated with wisdom, or as the case may be. The taralambana consciousness, which has for its function a registering or identifying for 2 moments of the object so perceived, may or may not follow. After this occurs death consciousness, chuti chitta, the last thought moment to be experienced in this present life. See diagram 11, page 315. There is a misconception amongst some that the subsequent birth is conditioned by this last deceased thought. What actually conditions rebirth is not this deceased thought, which in itself has no special function to perform, but that which is experienced during the jhāvana process. With the ceasing of the deceased consciousness, death actually occurs. Then no material qualities born of mind and food, chittaja and aharaja, rupa, are produced. Only a series of material qualities born of heat, utuja rupa, goes on till the corpse is reduced to dust.
Now, immediately after the dissolution of the deceased consciousness, chuti-citta, there arises in a fresh existence the relinking consciousness, patisandhi vijnana. This is followed by 16 bhavanga thought moments. Thereafter, the mind door apprehending consciousness arises, to be followed by 7 jhāvana thought moments, developing a liking to the fresh existence, bhava nikanti jhāvana. Then the bhavanga consciousness arises and perishes, and the stream of consciousness flows on ceaselessly. See diagram 12, page 316. 60. In the case of formless realms, there is no heart base, hadaya vastu. Citta santati, the stream of consciousness. Scribble mark. S15. So to those who have thus got rebirth, immediately after the cessation of the relinking, consciousness 61, a similar consciousness, depending on the same object, flows on in the absence of a thought process, uninterruptedly, like a stream, until the arising of the deceased consciousness, 63. Being an essential factor of life, this consciousness is known as bhavanga. At the end, in the way of dying, it arises as deceased consciousness and perishes. Thereafter, the relinking consciousness and others, revolving according to circumstances, like a wheel, continue to exist. The enlightened, disciplining themselves long, understanding the impermanence of life, will realize the deathless state, 127, and completely cutting off the fetters of attachment, attain peace, 128. Scribble mark. Thus ends the 5th chapter of the Compendium of Abhidhamma, known as the analysis of the process-free section. Scribble mark. Notes. 61. Patisandhi, bhavanga, and chuti consciousness of one particular existence are identical because they have the same object. The mental states in each of these three are the same. They differ only in name and in function immediately after the rebirth consciousness, bhavanga consciousness, arises. During lifetime, whenever no thought processes arise, this bhavanga consciousness exists. One experiences innumerable bhavanga thought moments in the course of one's lifetime. 62. Note the Pali phrase, nadi soto viya. 63. Chuti-citta, or deceased consciousness, which one experiences at the moment of death, is similar to the pandisandhi citta and bhavanga citta of that particular life. 64. Immediately after the deceased consciousness, there arises in a subsequent rebirth the relinking consciousness, or rebirth consciousness, patisandhi citta, at the moment of conception. 127. That is Nibbāna. 128. That is Nibbāna element without a substratum, or nirupadisesa Nibbāna dhatu.